Hey friends, thanks for tuning in to Lumberjill Garden. Today I'm going to be showing you how to germinate milkweed in a jar without any stratification time. And that's the best part of this method because stratification can take anywhere from a whole winter to a month in the refrigerator. And when it gets to be springtime like it is right now, you probably don't have that much time to wait for these little guys to sprout in order to have a beautiful butterfly garden. So I found this method online where you actually clip the seeds and put them in water for 1 to 3 days, and then you can actually just have them sprout right inside this jar. So these have been in here for about 2 weeks, and as you can see, we already have some lovely little plants, which I'll transplant soon. And really this was the most satisfying way of starting milkweed in my opinion, because you get milkweed really, really fast and they're gonna be ready to transplant as soon as spring gets its way to Tennessee. So I will first show you all the materials that you need. So of course you need some milkweed seeds. These ones are already taken out of their little pods. So in a different video, I tell you all about how to do that most efficiently. You'll need a little jar of water that is filtered. You don't want any chlorine in this water. And then you'll need a 16-ounce ball jar or whatever kind of canning jar you have. This one in particular has a really wide mouth. And that's important because if it's necked in, the little plants aren't gonna be able to find their way out. Let's see, you'll also need some saran wrap. Here it is. That'll cover the top of the jar and make a little greenhouse for you until they start to get big. And then I have a knife so that I can drill some holes or poke some holes. You'll need a little lid cap for your jar to hold that cellophane on. The last thing I have is this stuff called coconut coir, which helps hold the moisture in, and I'll put that on top of the seeds. So all of these things will be in a list below, which you can reference before you get planting. But for now, I'm looking around to see if I missed anything. Of course, I had some nail clippers too. That is probably the most unusual piece that you will see in this planting. We're actually going to be clipping the seeds with this little guy. So any little thing that can clip seeds is fine, but I like this nail clipper. It's working really well. So yeah, I think that's everything and I'll get to it. I will show you exactly how this works in just a minute. All right, so the first step is to clip these tiny little seeds. And what I'm going to do here is, as you can see, the seed has a round end and a little flat end on it. And the flat end is where the seeds begins to emerge when it germinates, or the little plant. And what I'm going to show you how to do today is how to clip the little end off so that the seed germ is exposed, which you can't really see there, and you probably won't be able to see. But what happens when it hits water, which I'll put it in this little cup, is that water starts to penetrate that little hole and the little plant will start coming out. And that is how we are moving past germination or stratification. Let's see, there's another one. I'll do about 5 more and you can see how I do each one. I cut into the meat of it just a little bit so that it exposes what's inside. I found that to be a fairly effective method. One more. And that. Let's see, let's do one more. There we go. And I'll keep on doing this until I have about 20 seeds. And then these ones have already been sitting there for a while. And then after a day, I'll change the water out and I'll let these go for about 3 days. And as you can see, this little white part, trying to get focused, the little white part is starting to emerge from the seed. There we go. Tough to see there, but that is a little milkweed plant that is going to eventually come out. So once you have them soaked for 1 to 3 days, for this little guy here, I only soaked these ones for 1 day. And they did really well. 3 days helps get more of them ready. But once they're ready to go, once you've had your 3 days of soaking about, you can get your jar ready. All I did was put plain Miracle-Gro soil in here. This is a 16-ounce jar. And in 16 ounces, I'll put a 1/2 cup of filtered water. So there we go. Pour that in there and make that super moist. Get that in there evenly. There we go. Very nice. And then all I do is I take these seeds that have started to grow and I'll one by one place them on top of the soil. They get a little sticky. Don't worry about them clumping too much. Just try to get them all in there. Once I transplant them, I'll give them more space, but initially they can have a neighbor sometimes. So I'll put 10 or 20 in here actually. Give everything a good chance to grow and become a full-size milkweed plant. Keep going. Oh, there's some on the bottom. Sometimes when I get a little tired, I might just pour the water out like that. There we go. And then I'll just take the extra and pour them in there and spread them out. Gets a little too futzy for me sometimes. That's when you get kind of some of the clumps, but as you see, I just spread them around. And they're pretty happy in there as they are. I make sure they have good contact with the soil. And this is where they're gonna do the rest of their germinating. And then to finish, I give them a little bit of a blanket of the coconut coir, like I mentioned. So this will help them retain moisture and it'll protect the seeds. And this is the key to success. So we have planted our seeds. Now we're just gonna make the greenhouse out of it by putting the cellophane on top, securing it with the ring. If you don't have a ring, you can use a rubber band, or it might just stay put on its own. And then I just poke a few holes, just like you would if there was an insect living in there. And that'll just make sure that it's properly vented. Look at that. All right. And this is our greenhouse. So this is called Germination. And like I said, it's the most effective way to get some little plants started in a really quick time, especially when it comes to milkweed. And I'm gonna be starting a whole bunch of these this year. That's my plan, so I can share all sorts of milkweed. So if you have any questions, please let me know in the comments or email me at lumberjillgarden@gmail.com. I would love to hear how things go for you and see wonderful photos of your beautiful milkweed. Thank you so much for learning with me, and please subscribe to my channel and we will give you more beautiful milkweed tutorials. All right, bye.